Do you have a job? Do you have a career? Maybe you even have a calling. Here in the United States, you get to pick your path. You get to make the choice. Hey, life is short. Find your freedom. Live your dreams. Welcome to Goose Pond Hideout. And I'm Rob. That's Rob with an R. R-O-B. Not Bob. Bob is what women keep in the nightstand in the bedroom, right? So, my previous video, the video that I just did a couple days ago, I suggested that you retire now, that no matter your age, 20s, 30s, 80s, whatever, that retire and live your life, because life is short, and I want you to find your freedom, because ultimately I want you to be living your dreams. And I got some really amazing comments on that video. I mean, people wrote long stories and about how that's changed their lives and when they made that choice. And of course you always get a couple negative comments, and one I just was reading this morning before I came out here to do this one is that I don't have any responsibilities and I'm a big drain on society. I thought, boy, that person sure is unhappy in their life, right? I mean, we own our homestead. We owned property in Maine when we lived up there. We owned our sailboat, which was kind of like, your home. And, we own our homestead. We have electricity here. We are on the grid. We talked about going off grid when we moved here, and we decided against it because, one, the electricity was already connected, and just down the road from us here, not too far down on our road, is the county water company. They got one of those big giant mushroom tank things, that are full of water, and the pumping stations and all that. And so they keep the trees trimmed, and we never don't. I mean, when our power goes out, the diesel generator kicks on at the water station. I'm sure a big alarm goes off in somebody's office, and everything it comes right back on. So anyway, to the point here is, I really want you to be living your dreams. We're living our dreams. I'm living my dreams. I'm sharing with you, I'm making this video. I don't want you to live my dream. You don't have to be here on this homestead. The point is, again, I want you to be free to do the things that make you happy, to live your dreams. And we got kind of like three choices in life. Is, you can have a job, and a job is when you're working for someone else. That you're exchanging your time for money. You go to work, you do your job, you leave and you go home, and at the end of the week you get a paycheck, a job. Then there's the career, where you've got some more training, and maybe even you have a license or whatever, and you're doing a career more for yourself. You're working with other people, you're helping people solve their problems or whatever, but it's more, you're doing it more for yourself as opposed to somebody else. But you're still pretty much exchanging your time for money. You don't necessarily get an actual paycheck, but people are paying you money, right? And then there's the calling, where it's this, you're just driven to do this. You're doing whatever you're doing on a personal level. It's the personal satisfaction. It's an emotional, you're really just consumed by it, and you do it. And the way that people, you hear all the time, the saying that people say is, would you be doing what you're doing today if you weren't getting paid to do it? you know, and that's kind of those thoughts. And, you know, if you choose to live outside the system, and oh, I love analogies. It's like when you learn to drive, and as you get a little bit better at driving, then you go out and you get on the interstate, right? And that's kind of like, you know, you're out of school and that, and you got your first job, and you're driving down the interstate, and everybody's going the same way. Everybody's doing the same thing that you're doing. You're all, you know, jockeying around. You're all going the same way. You're driving down the road. You're all going the same speed. You know, you got the cruise control set. You got the seat leaned back a little bit. You got your hand on the wheel, and you're just driving down that road. And that's a job. And, you know, sure, every once in a while there's an exit where you can get off of that job and pull off the exit, but it's just so much easier to just keep cruising down the road at 70 miles an hour or whatever the speed limit is, plus 10. And you know, that's kind of what happens in our life, is we get sucked into that cruise control easy. You get that job, and then you get caught up in the rat race, you know, and you just keep exchanging your time for money. And that's what that's why I say retire now. That's why I say find your freedom, live your dream, because I'm sure, you know, that's not what your dream is. And then it's your own, you know, fears, if you will. I really hate to use that word, because it really isn't, in my opinion, it's not fear. It's just, you know, you've made that choice. And it's like putting, you know, you're playing poker and your chips are in the kitty. You kind of don't want to get out because you're already into it. You're set in your ways, right? Your family influence on you. You know, oh, you got to get a job. You know, your family, your friends, you know, all the people around you, they're all influencing you to keep doing, you know, what it is that you're doing. And suppose that, you know, like Steve Jobs did, become an accountant instead of starting Apple. You know, what if Prince, the musician Prince, had become a plumber or an electrician, you know, instead of, you know, going into and doing his music? I mean, talk about a calling, you know, right? So that is what I want for you, is I want you to, and you don't have to be Steve Jobs or Prince, but you're living your dreams is what's important. And, you know, again, we lived in Maine, and the town was so small it didn't even have its own zip code, right? I mean, seriously, it had no zip code. And, you know, then we moved out of Maine and we lived on our sailboat, and we, you know, did that and lived that dream. And now we're, you know, here on our homestead, and that's our dream. But me sharing what we're doing is so that to encourage you to get off at the next exit on the expressway, and it's a little bit scary, but, you know, do what is your dream, because we're all just specks on this rock flying around the sun in the Milky Way galaxy, in this, you know, enormous universe. And what other people think of what you're doing really doesn't matter at all. So follow your dreams, please.